This is an overview and demonstration of Dell EqualLogic Auto-Snapshot Manager Microsoft Edition, version 4.0. Smart copies can be of multiple types. You can have a snapshot smart copy, which is essentially a point-in-time copy of a PS series volume. You can have a clone smart copy, which is a new independent volume containing the same data as the original volume at the time the clone was created. A replica smart copy is also a point-in-time copy of a PS series volume. However, in this case, the original volume and the replica are located on different PS series groups. A thin clone smart copy is a volume cloned from a read-only template volume. Thin clones are useful when you need to create volumes that have common data. Backup documents. So, each smart copy created within Auto-Snapshot Manager includes a backup document that describes the smart copy. A backup document must exist on a network share accessible to all hosts for Auto-Snapshot Manager to access the smart copy. If a smart copy consists of multiple components, the associated backup document will describe each individual component in the smart copy. Collections. Collections are a logical group of volumes, applications, or application components. You can perform smart copy operations on an entire collection. Volume-based collections allow you to specify whether or not you want a smart copy schedule for a collection to fail if the collection definition differs from the time the schedule was created. So let's assume you've created a collection that contains a group of volumes on which SQL databases are stored, for example. Auto-Snapshot Manager will automatically include the SQL databases in the collection. In previous releases of Auto-Snapshot Manager, if a database was removed from the volumes, the schedule would fail since the collection definition had changed. Now, Auto-Snapshot Manager will still create a smart copy of the collection. Schedules. You can create schedules to perform smart copy operations at regular intervals. Auto-Snapshot Manager will notify you when scheduled operations complete or fail. Data recovery. You can perform an in-place recovery of smart copies, which basically will perform a full recovery to the original location. You can perform a selective component recovery, which allows you to selectively restore files or individual components. Or a manual recovery, where essentially you mount a snapshot smart copy and then manually copy data from the mounted smart copy to your target destination. In Auto-Snapshot Manager, let's go ahead and create smart copies. Let's select an available host from the tree panel. Let's say Hyper1. Let's view its available volumes. So Hyper1 has two available iSCSI volumes, E and F, which, by the way, are reflected in the Array Volumes dashboard icon. You can interact with that dashboard icon to see additional information on both the E and the F drive. Let's connect to this remote host so that we can view the data available on the E and F drives. So we are now connected to the remote host called Hyper1. If I launch my computer, I can see that there is an E as well as an F drive. The E drive contains an applications, a backup, and a data folder. And the F drive contains a documents, shared, and a uses folder. Let's go ahead and create a smart copy of the E drive. So we are now back in the Auto-Snapshot Manager application. I'm simply going to right-click on the E drive and select Create Smart Copy Set. We will select a smart copy type of snapshot because they're more space efficient, and I will click Next. We'll take a quick moment to review the snapshot settings summary and click Create. Auto-Snapshot Manager is now creating the smart copy set. The snapshot is generated and the backup document is modified. As you can see, the smart copy was saved to the backup document location specified. Once again, it's important that the backup document location is on a network share that's accessible to all the remote hosts. Now that the smart copy set has been successfully generated, the Smart Copies node in the tree panel displays all smart copies that have been created. The tree structure includes 3 layers of nodes under the Smart Copy node. You can right-click on any node to view the available actions. For example, you can highlight this node to delete all smart copies. You can right-click on the next node. We can then mount that smart copy, restore that smart copy, delete the smart copy, view the backup document for the smart copy, generate a mount command, or generate a restore command. Let's take a look at the generate mount and generate restore commands to see what they do. So if you don't need to make any changes to the data, Auto-Snapshot Manager recommends that you mount the volumes in read-only mode. We now have to assign a drive letter in which to mount this smart copy. We'll go ahead and select the next available letter, which is G on this host. Now, Auto-Snapshot Manager gives us the command line equivalent of the mount command. So if we wanted to mount this smart copy from a command line, this is the command we would use, using the Auto-Snapshot Manager command line interface. You can highlight this command and copy it to the clipboard so that you can then run it from a command line, using Auto-Snapshot Manager command line interface. If you right-click on this node in the smart copy, you can also generate a restore command. To restore the smart copy from a command line using Auto-Snapshot Manager CLI, this is the command that we would use. And again, you can highlight that, copy it to the clipboard, so you can then run it from a command prompt. Now that we have successfully created a smart copy, let's connect to the remote host again, delete some data off of the E drive, and then recover it from the smart copy that we just generated. So we are now connected to the remote host called Hyper1. We're going to browse to the E drive and accidentally delete the 3 folders: Applications, Backup, and Data. We'll take an extra step to empty them from the recycle bin. We have just deleted all data from the E drive, which, by the way, is an iSCSI volume formatted with NTFS. We're now back in the Auto-Snapshot Manager application. If we right-click on this node of the Smart Copy set and select Restore, Auto-Snapshot Manager asks us, do you want to restore the Smart Copy set created on, and then it gives us a date and timestamp. I'll go ahead and click Yes. Auto-Snapshot Manager is now analyzing the backup document. It will then online the snapshot that's contained within the PS series group and then perform the restore from that snapshot back to the original location of the server. So essentially, it's going to restore the contents of those 3 folders we deleted back to the E NTFS volume of Hyper1 server. The restore has completed successfully. Now let's go back and connect to the Hyper1 server so that we can confirm that the Smart Copy set was successfully restored. So if I launch my computer and click on the E drive, and there they are. The applications, the backup, and the data folder have all been successfully recovered very quickly and very easily. So we are now back in the Auto-Snapshot Manager application, and we're going to delete the Smart Copy. And let's see how that's done. So if we right-click on this node of the Smart Copy set and select Delete, we are prompted for a confirmation. We click Yes. The Auto-Snapshot Manager application will then refresh the host as indicated down here. Once the refresh is complete, you will see that we have successfully deleted the Smart Copy. Now there are 2 NTFS iSCSI volumes on this Hyper1 server. Let's talk about Smart Copy collections and how they work. If we right-click on the Collections node and select Create Collection, we'll give the collection a name. Click Next. Now we can select the individual components that we want included within the Smart Copy set. I'll select the E drive and I'll select the F drive. Those will make up the Smart Copy collection. You can see that the Smart Copy collection has been created under the Collections node in the tree panel. If I highlight the collection, you can see that both Volume E and Volume F are included as part of the collection. You can then right-click on the collection and you can create a Smart Copy set of that collection that will contain both the E and F drives. We'll click Next and Create. The Smart Copy set of both the E and F drives is now being created by Auto-Snapshot Manager. The Smart Copy set has been created successfully. Now, in the Smart Copies node of the Hyper-1 server, we can see that there is a Smart Copy of the collection of both the E and F drives. Now that we have seen how to manually create a Smart Copy, let's go ahead and schedule a Smart Copy creation. If we right-click on this collection and select Configure New Schedule, first we select the frequency. Let's have this start immediately with no end date, and let's make this task repeat every 5 minutes. And click Next. Now we select the type of Smart Copy the schedule will perform, as well as the number of Smart Copies to retain. Let's keep these settings as defaults and click Next. We now specify administrative credentials and click Create. We have successfully created a schedule of a Smart Copy collection. We also have the option to mount a Smart Copy. When you mount a Smart Copy, you basically make its contents accessible to the computer. So if we right-click on this Smart Copy collection and choose Mount, we'll go ahead and click Next. We'll assign a drive letter to mount the E drive. We'll also assign a letter to mount the F drive. If we then click on Mount, Auto-Snapshot Manager then imports the Smart Copy set and then proceeds to mount the Smart Copies. As you can see, under the Volumes node, under the Hyper-1 server, you can see that there is a G and H drive. Now I just wanted to point out that we are running an Auto-Snapshot Manager instance and that this Hyper-1 server is a remote host. So based on what we're seeing, we should expect that if we remotely connect to this Hyper-1 host, it should have two drive letters mounted, a G and an H drive, that correspond to the Smart Copy collection that we generated for the E and F drives. Let's go ahead and remotely connect to the Hyper-1 server. So we are now remotely connected to our Hyper-1 server, and if we open My Computer, you can see the original E and F drives, but you also see a G and an H drive mounted, which correspond to the E and F drive. So if something were to happen to the data on E and the data on F, so that now both E and F are empty, because we mounted those Smart Copy sets, we can simply paste them back to the original locations. So this is the concept of mounting a Smart Copy set. And as you can see, the E drive is now populated with its data, and the F drive is populated with its data, and this host has mounted a G and an H drive that correspond to the Smart Copy sets generated of the E and F volumes. These are, again, iSCSI volumes that are formatted as NTFS. Back in Auto-Snapshot Manager, let's go ahead and unmount those Smart Copies. So if we highlight a Hyper 1 host, under the Volumes node, we can see the G and H mounts, as reflected by the specialized icons to indicate that these are mounts. So if we right-click on G, we can select Unmount and log off. We'll proceed to do the same for the H drive. So we have successfully unmounted and logged off a smart copy. They're no longer shown under the Volumes node for the Hyper 1 server. This concludes our overview and demonstration of smart copies with Auto-Snapshot Manager Microsoft Edition version 4.0. Thank you for choosing Dell.